Hey piano people, today I'm going to share with you why the Alfred piano flashcards are one of the best tools for piano. I talk about these flashcards a lot and I've mentioned them in several videos, and one of the teachers here in the audience asked that I do an entire video going a little more in depth to the ways that you can use them and the ways that they can benefit you in your piano learning journey. So we're going to talk about all of that today. I love these flashcards. I grew up learning with these flashcards and I've used them for my entire adult life in teaching all ages of students. I have never encountered someone that these flashcards do not work for. And if you've been around for a while, then you know that my passion is helping you figure out how to practice smarter, not harder. And these flashcards are a great tool for that. Inside this deck of flashcards, you're going to find a very comprehensive list of musical terms and symbols. And if you were to set out trying to memorize all of the definitions for these terms and symbols by reading a book or by just playing pieces of music, it would take you a very long time to learn all of them. However, if you can commit about 2 minutes a day to practicing a couple flashcards at a time and to just adding a few flashcards during every single flashcard practice session, within a couple of months, you are going to know these terms and symbols like the back of your own hand. And this is hugely beneficial for two reasons. So the first way that they will benefit you is they will help you to increase your cognitive memory. And it doesn't matter what your goals are at the piano, whether or not you want to memorize pieces. Whenever you set out to learn something on the piano, your memory is at play from the very beginning stages. And this is because every single time you look at a piece of music, your brain is trying its very best to remember what you're doing, so that between practice sessions, you remember what you did and you can build upon the skill set that you developed. I'm sure you've all had the experience of having your muscle memory really intact. And that's when you can play something fairly well, but if you get off, let's say you play a wrong note or you make a mistake, all of a sudden you can't remember what you're doing and you have to go back to the very beginning of the piece to play it again. That is muscle memory. Muscle memory is very important, but we want to move things into the deeper layers of our memory. We want to eventually get to the point that everything we do at the piano is in our cognitive memory. And that means that we really have a deep understanding of the terms and the symbols and what they mean and how to interpret them at the piano. And so studying these flashcards can really help you get a lot of information into the deep level of your cognitive memory very quickly. And so in that way, these flashcards act like a shortcut. They can really accelerate your cognitive memory. These flashcards are also going to really help you with pattern recognition. And pattern recognition is essential if you want to be able to sight read fluently at the piano. When you see a professional sit down to play a piece of music and you see them open the music and maybe they've seen it before or maybe they haven't seen it before, but they're able to play it really well on the very first playthrough, it's because they are recognizing a lot of complex patterns very quickly. That's what being able to read music at a high level is. So when you commit to using these flashcards in your practice and studying them for a couple of minutes a day, you are going to increase the speed at which you can recognize patterns, and you're also going to increase the amount of patterns that you can recognize on sight. So I highly recommend that everyone use these flashcards. They work for every single age. I have yet to encounter someone that they don't work for. I've used them with children. I've used them with senior citizens. They work for everyone. These flashcards are very comprehensive. Eventually, after you work through all of the flashcards, you will have studied all of the notes on the staff, different symbols that you'll see in music for articulation and dynamics, several of the most common tempo markings that come up in music, other common musical symbols that you'll see very often like flats and sharps and naturals, or the ABA symbol or a tie. You'll cover all of the major and minor key signatures, all of the melodic and harmonic intervals, and the different rhythmic values for notes and rests. And that's a long list. If I were to just tell you to go memorize all of those things, it would probably feel really overwhelming and it would take you a really long time. But the great thing about flashcards is that you can do them in very short amounts of time, consistently, over a long period of time. And you can learn that entire list a lot faster this way than if you were to try to memorize those definitions any other way. You're not tied to the piano when you're practicing these flashcards, so you can take them in the car with you. You can practice them while you're waiting to pick up your kids in the pickup line, while you're waiting for a doctor's appointment, when a commercial comes on, when you're watching TV. There's so many different times throughout the day that you could work these flashcards into your regular routine. Now, if you're a teacher and you're using these flashcards, or if this sounds boring to you and you want to make it more fun, you can also use them in several different ways. So one of my favorite things that I've ever done in my studio, I did like a monthly Jeopardy game where I had all of the flashcards hanging up physically on the wall, and the students had a chance every time in their lesson to play a couple rounds of Jeopardy. And so they really got to know the flashcards that were on the wall. I've split them up by categories so you can do all the note names at once, and maybe once you get all the note names down, you have a special reward for yourself or for your students. You can do different time challenges, or if you have someone in the family that's learning with you, you can also like have little competitions to see who can do all of the note names the most accurate or the fastest. There's lots of ways that you can gamify the experience of practicing these flashcards. So get creative and share in the comments some ideas that you've come up with of ways to make practicing these flashcards even more fun so we can all learn from each other. Now, I'll include a link to these flashcards in the description below. And I love connecting with you here regularly through these videos. But in my Facebook group, we can connect even more because you can post questions and post videos and ask for feedback. It's growing rapidly and we do a lot of fun events in there, and I can't wait to see you. And if you want some other ways that you can increase your cognitive memory and your pattern recognition, I'm gonna go ahead and link to another video that I did that's all about the process of sight reading and how to become even more proficient at sight reading. And you can watch that right here.